Going live. You're live. Wow, we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's On the Stick After Dark. My name is Joe Drilling, and with me this evening so far is Kurt Adam.
I am live.
And Eric Allen.
Hey.
And supposedly Mike will be here too. I thought I saw him in Discord, but he wasn't in the voice chat yet, so. But, boy, it sure has been an eventful day today, hasn't it?
I mean, you got a Satiator. That's pretty exciting.
That's true. That's true.
That's right.
To be fair, I got the Satiator last week, so the event that happened to me today was my N64 EverDrive arrived in the mail. So, you know, I'm sure some other stuff happened too. I don't
know. Maybe
not familiar.
No, that's all the drive you'll ever need, baby.
Ever. That's all the drive you'll ever need.
That's all
ever.
the drive I'll need ever. Yes. But we're gonna play with Satiator tonight, and I'm gonna check some stuff out. So if anybody wants to see anything in specific, you can drop it in the chat. But I've got a couple of requests from the fellas here, so I'm gonna start with Burning Rangers because Mike requested it. This was the I don't know.
Punknut seems very excited that you got a Satiator.
Yeah, I'm also very excited.
Also.
Yeah, I'm also very excited that I got a Satiator. So that makes sense to me. So yeah, this is a game from Sonic Team that they made while they were busy not making any Sonic games for the Saturn.
So just Team.
Yeah. Well, no, it was still made by Sonic Team, but
Did they not make that really awful, isometric Sonic game for the Saturn?
I don't think Sonic Team actually was responsible for that. You'd have to check.
Atrocity.
Sonic 3D Blast? I don't
The only 2D game I've ever played in my life, despite the title, that made me motion sick.
Yeah, I don't think Sonic Team was responsible for that one. I
hope not. Otherwise, they got some splaining to do.
Yeah. But so this is generally... I've never played this game, but it's one that I've actually wanted to check out because it's largely considered certainly one of the better 3D action games on the Saturn, but kind of one of the better 3D games just sort of in general. It's you play as future anime firefighters in space.
Oh, the Burning Rangers.
Yes.
Didn't realize it was that literal.
Oh yeah, yes. They range burning. That's the thing. And of course, one of the reasons that I found it completely worth paying the $200+ for the Satiator is because this game, for example, is trapped on this platform and it costs a fortune. All of the popular American releases and many even now Japanese versions of those same games are climbing up in price because they're rare, is basically the short answer. And it's just like,
wait, I thought you said it was Sonic Team, not Rare.
And Saturn emulation has advanced, right? It's no longer impossible to emulate.
It's not.
Yeah, it's totally fine now. Pretty much everything is.
It's not in a place where there are Super NES emulators that perfectly replicate the clock speed of the processor and everything, but it's functional for sure. 95% of games play fine in Mednafen or whatever.
So I requested this game just for the song. I don't actually know anything about the game.
Well, it's about firefighters in space.
Right.
But you heard the song, so you got what you wanted out of it because the song.
I didn't actually hear it very well because I'm not watching the sound on the stream because that would get me echo. But I'm happy to know that it was played.
It was played. Let's go.
What's the name of that guy?
The singer. The singer. What is his name?
I'll look it up.
I just looked this up not that long ago because I was looking up the Daytona song, but I can't remember his name now.
Takenobu Mitsuyoshi.
Basics. Mastering these techniques are
critical to
becoming a ranger.
Yeah, that guy's awesome.
The leader of the Burning Rangers.
Also, he sings all of his songs in a closet.
This exercise.
Did
Chris
he
always
when
monitors
he
our
recorded
situation
them, or is
and
that just
provides
what
us
he
with
does now
updates.
when he
Make
does
sure you
like new
listen to
versions of them
her
on YouTube
carefully,
or whatever?
because it may
No,
save
I
your
mean,
life.
at the time, I believe
Press
he
the
recorded them in his
navigation
closet because the
button when
closest
we're
thing he
lost,
had in his.
and
I
I'll try to
think he might have
help you.
recorded them in his home.
Show, let me
So he was
introduce
way
you
ahead
to
of the curve on
Phoenix.
that.
He'll be helping you with
Yeah.
the basics.
Listen carefully and make sure you don't fall
Lead
behind.
Phoenix. Was his name supposed to be
Are you
Reed,
ready?
I wonder, and that's
Press
like a
the R button to look to
mistranslation,
your
or...
It's lead Phoenix, and then later you'll have
Do you
bronze
see that
Phoenix.
fuel tank?
Right.
Now look to your left.
I
for
like
pressing
Lead
the L
Phoenix. That
button.
makes him sound like
Now
he's
you
a
should see a door.
gunslinging, rootin'
Use the
tootin'
L and the R buttons.
firefighting guy.
Camera, okay?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, that a
Let's
Gen 1
begin.
Saturn pad on the demonstration there?
Uh,
My Saturn pads don't look that curvy.
Follow
No,
red.
I wasn't paying
Use
super
the
close
D-pad
attention
to
actually,
move in
but
the
I thought it was
direction you
by
wanna
this
go.
time the Japanese
Can you
pad
see
was
that gap
down. Oh
ahead?
yeah, that's the
Don't worry
American
about it.
Gen
Just
1
keep
Saturn
running.
pad.
You'll
And,
automatically clear
I
small
don't know why they
gaps.
did that, because by
Follow
this
me.
time, like I said, it was,
That's what they found for clip art to use.
yeah, I guess.
You should be able to look around corners.
Yeah, I must have the American Gen 2 Saturn pad, which I find really good.
Yeah, the
There
Gen
are three
2, I mean,
different types of
I've
doors and
got the
hatches
Retrobit
that are striped
2.4
and
gigahertz
color-coded.
wireless one,
You have free access through blue striped
but
doors.
it's
open yellow striped
it's
doors,
I
you must find
I
and activate
want to
the
say
switch.
allegedly that these molds
Switches
are
can
the
often be
same,
found
basically
right
the
next to
same
the
molds,
doors,
because these
but
were
some may be
licensed by
located in
Sega.
different rooms. Red doors
But
cannot
if
be
they're not
opened.
the exact same
Once
molds, they're
closed,
close enough. I mean,
that's it.
you know, good enough for jazz,
Also, you
as
need
they
to know
say.
that there are doors that only work
Boy,
in
the
one
tutorial in
direction.
this game is much longer than I
Only enter the door
anticipated for a
from the strike
1998
side.
release. I'll tell you that.
Okay, next exercise.
But yeah.
Show,
So
say hello to Big Land.
see how come? I wonder
He's
if I
our
get to play as the
Singapore
other people
Ranger.
later.
He's a
I don't know.
veteran
I guess I never actually
firefighter,
played this
and you
game.
might
I
have
just
seen him on
know
TV
it by
or in
reputation.
newspapers.
But do I get to play as the guy who
Keep your
uses
eyes
a
peeled
bazooka?
all the time.
Big Landman. That's a Kojima name right
Big
there.
Landman.
That's a Kojima as hell name for someone.
I was saying, isn't he like
I'll
one of
show
those
you how to use
baseball
your
players
jetpack.
from that game?
You
I
can
can't
jump
remember
off
which
by
one.
Oh
pressing the
yeah. I can't
If you
remember what
press
game
the
that
jump
was, but
button while in
yeah,
the air,
could be.
Your jetpack will deliver an extra boost
But, yeah.
that allows you to jump higher and get more distance.
You know. So I don't know if I get to play as.
Leave Dykel.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I get to play
Bobson
as.
Dugnut. What are they from? So, hold on, I'm gonna find the name
Isn't it
of the
like
games
is
these
it?
are from. Fighting Baseball.
Fight it, yeah.
Big
Yeah,
is on
Steve
the platform
Dugnut? I thought it
above
was
you.
like
Dykel.
Bobson Dugnut
Now
or
press
something
and
weird
hold the
like that.
camera button.
Bobson Dugnut. Yeah.
Bobson
to locate
Dugnut,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Todd Gonzalez. And Mike Hernandez.
Can you see him? Okay, now jump onto
Oh,
the
and
platform
of course,
where his
Mike
stove is.
Truck.
Of course. Who could forget Mike Truck?
Take it easy. You can do it.
Love it when my capture card just drops the sync from my FrameMeister. That's always good.
Did we ever talk about this on stream, how I was digging up my old Sega consoles and they all don't work very well anymore?
I believe we did mention that on the stream, yes.
Good. I think you've got it.
Makes me sad.
Well,
Now,
I mean, if
press
the issue
action
with your
button.
Saturn is the drive, a Satiator would fix that problem.
Yeah, it would fix it, but I don't have a good way to play that on my
With the light
main
on.
TVs,
Stand next
so
to it and press the action
I'm not
button.
sure I want to invest a whole bunch of money in that.
This way.
Yeah.
Reed is standing next
So I'm
to
not
the
going to go
door
downstairs
just
and play them on the old
Never
CRT
find
for
him.
very long at a time.
Will they connect to the new CRT or not?
The new CRT is a computer monitor,
Right.
Remember,
so I don't know.
always move as quickly and as efficiently.
You'd have to
as
tell me if
possible.
there's a good way to get VGA
Okay,
out of a
let's go
Saturn.
to the next room.
Now,
Oh, you
pay
probably have to
attention.
use a
This is very
VGA
important.
or a SCART,
The
like a
crystals.
RGB to
Crystals are
VGA
concentrated
converter of
forms
some
of
sort,
energy.
which probably is something
Using
that
it
like
wisely
Console 5 might
lets you
make
generate
cables like
shield
that or
which
something,
protects
like,
us
or you
from
might be able to
all
ask them to
hazards.
make you one, because I feel like they do custom
That
cables.
$100 cable though.
Now
I
collect all the
their
crystals
cables
in
aren't
the
that
room.
expensive generally. I don't know if that changes if they, you know, make you a custom one, but
Hmm.
they make cables for all kinds of shit, and they're not like super ridiculously expensive. So I would see if
Well
there's
done,
something
rookie.
like that from Console 5 or
Okay, let's move on.
I don't know. I feel like retrogamingcables.co.uk just does SCART, like almost exclusively does SCART, but
Hi, I'm Tillis. It's nice to meet you.
Okay.
Joe, I see burning. Do something.
I'm gonna. I
Range.
will.
Range
it.
I'm gonna
Range the burn.
I'm gonna range the burn as soon as it'll let me.
Mel Tillis.
Tillis. How come she doesn't have a last name? Is she like a pop idol?
I mean, I don't know, but I also why is
Her
there
name is actually T. Illis.
right? Why are we letting a 19-year-old girl fight fires in space? That doesn't feel like.
Smash the patriarchy, man.
Now it's your
It's
I
not
gotta tell
the
you-
gender that is really my hang-up when it comes to this person fighting fires in space. It's more that I have misgivings about, you know,
Always try to
having
extinguish
a
any
19-year-old
fire
fill
that you
that
can.
particular job.
I do have to say, Joe, fires in space real bad. So, like,
Yeah.
at that point, just grab anyone you can, I think.
Anyone who's willing to do the job, just let them have the job.
Better than having the fire in space.
I mean, that's why there's training.
Well,
I'd say
great.
we must have 19-year-old firefighters.
No, I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
On
Do
Earth.
we? I feel like
Yes,
getting
absolutely.
like an associate degree in fire science
My
or whatever.
my wife's brother started the fire service before he was out of high school.
But he wasn't also an
Yeah.
astronaut. Is my point.
Yeah, but if you're born in space,
But it's
everyone's
not
an
the
astronaut.
future. That's right.
If you just live in space, Joe, I don't think you need to go through astronaut training.
I'm not sure that these
Laser
people.
blasts
They just
live
call
in
it training.
space.
But remember,
Yeah.
crystals cannot be formed when hit with them.
They just call it
Keep an eye on your
living.
energy
I think
level
we could all learn
using a
something
laser blast.
from the space firefighters.
That's right. The unlikely Toad
Of Burning
asks, "Have you found any issues with buttons sticking on your retrobit pads?" I have Genesis versions with that occasional problem, unfortunately.
Not yet. No. But the only one that I have the only retrobit pads I have
Okay,
are both
let's
Saturn.
go
I have
to
a
the next
wired
room.
Saturn and then this wireless Saturn. I will say that the action on this one, on the wireless one, feels a lot better than on the wired one, which I got shortly after they came out. And I've heard other people say that they didn't have a great experience with the early releases of the wired retrobit pads. They're nice because the cord is super long. It's like a 10-foot cable, but
Watch carefully.
these, like the action on the buttons and the D-pad and stuff, is much better. On the, which I think that now the wired ones, the quality is also supposed to match these, but yeah, I don't. Oh, cool! My capture card.
It's kind of like with 8-bit dough. I mean, I think I actually own 4 8-bit dough controllers, and each one that I've bought has been better than the previous one. To the point where the last one that I got, the Super Nintendo 2.4 gigahertz one, I think is really good.
Not bad at all.
I think all of the 8-bit
Okay.
all the 8-bit dough pads that I have are good, but I also don't have. Let's see, I have
We have the Bluetooth Super Nintendo one, right?
a 2.4
It's
gigahertz
pretty
and a
basic.
Bluetooth
All you
Super
need to do
Nintendo.
Yeah.
is walk up to
Those
the
are
super-
I think the
Good.
Bluetooth one is good, but the 2.4 gigahertz is excellent.
Yeah, and I have the 2.4 gigahertz Genesis controller, which
That's
apparently
a
I can
recent one,
also
right?
get. I got it last year, or 2 years ago. I got it in 2018 or 2019.
That's 2019 is recent-ish. Like I have some that are older than that.
And apparently I can also. There's also a
Hey,
Saturn
haven't you been paying attention?
controller
Go get
dongle
the
for that
crystals.
I can get. So I need to. I should do that.
Coordinate set.
Because that's actually really, I like that controller a lot. The M30 from 8-bit dough. It's not based on like a lot of their
Can't you do better
controllers
than that?
to some extent are modeled after the original ones, and it's kind of like a 6-button pad, but it's a little more contoured and more comfortable
Well,
to
make
hold
sure
than
you
a
don't
real
get in
Genesis
my-
I didn't realize it was like
pad.
an original creation.
Yeah, it is. I like it a lot. I would use it on my Saturn as well if I had last time I looked though, I looked on Castlemania and they were sold out of the Saturn adapters for it. So I need to look again. But and then I have a couple of Retro Fighters controllers that I actually really like, which are not wireless. Although actually I have a wireless. I backed the Kickstarter for their wireless N64 controller, which should be coming to me soon, but I don't have it yet because COVID delayed the shipping. Like I bought it or backed the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter ended in like summer, But this
For some weird reason, it's taken a while to ship.
yeah, it's taken a while for to fulfill this stuff to them, but apparently I should be getting it like soonish. So I'm hoping that one's good, but their Dreamcast controller is really great, and I really don't like the original Dreamcast pad.
Yeah, the original Dreamcast pad, kind of awful.
Yeah.
That
but the
thumbstick is one of the only one that's ever given me pain just from the
Yeah.
texture of it.
The D-pad is even worse. Like if you're playing a fighting game on it, but the Retro Fighters pad for that is really good. I would recommend to anybody who has real Dreamcast hardware and hates the controller as much as I do.
It's one of the only first-party controllers I don't like.
Yeah, it's one of the
There's
few.
very few. Like I like the N64 controller, except for they don't last long. But if you have one that works, I think they're okay.
Yeah, I think the N64 pad is fine. I have a Hori Mini. I actually have a bunch of different pads for the N64 because I'm. All right. Well, so this was Burning Rangers. I I cleared the tutorial. I'm good on that. So here's a weird thing about the Satiator, unless I'm missing something or that I'm not remembering something. There is like a lot of flash carts and stuff. There's like a soft key that you can use that'll take you back to the menu. This does not have that. You have to power cycle the system to get back to the menu. So I'm actually going to do that.
Hardcore.
While you're doing that, Jim Fly asks, how much is this going to cost to those who don't get the early release?
Is the price going up?
I don't. Well, so every people who who supported Patreon got a discount based on how long you had been supporting the Patreon. So I think it ended up costing me like it was not a substantial discount in a way that you would maybe think or expect. I believe it's $250, which for me, like if I'd gotten anything that required soldering, like I am not capable of doing that, so I'd have to pay somebody to install it anyways. So paying more for this theoretically saved me, and you don't need to. I mean, it's so easy to. I didn't show the device because it's in my Saturn, but like the Saturn has a little hatch in the back that you can open up. I'm gonna play Bug next because that's what Eric would Bug or Mr. Bones.
Listen, either is fine.
Okay, I'll do Bug first because it's.
Doesn't this thing go into the memory card slot?
Mr. Bug Bones.
Not the memory card slot. It's in the back where the video card expansion goes. Like if you open the back of your Saturn, where the system battery, the watch battery that saves your games, that always dies and erases your games.
That has never worked in the history of my Saturn ever.
Yeah. Well, have you changed the battery? Because.
No. I've never saved a game on my Saturn, I don't think.
Oh, okay, well, then so you have to change the clock every time. I got fed up enough that I just bought a bunch of batteries, like, cheap, and I just change it, periodically, because having to set the time every time I turn on my Saturn was getting really annoying.
You can skip through that pretty fast, but yes, I see why.
I am pressing the start button. Bug.
This isn't Mr. Bones.
No, this is Bug. But it's not letting me start the game?
This is Bug!
Oh,
Yeah, Kurt has it right.
that's weird. Yeah, Mr. Bones.
Press the other.
I don't know anything about this game, but I remember the advertisements being in EGM a lot.
Yes,
In
absolutely.
like 1996 or 95 or whatever.
95, yeah.
Were they super edgy? Like, you can't handle this.
No,
bug.
it was just like that, like render of that picture of the main character, like on a background. I don't remember.
Was that about how the bug was so cool? It was gonna sleep with your girlfriend or something?
I don't think so. I can look it up.
Okay, so.
I think they were pretty plain Jane, but I just remember the.
I can't figure out. Something is jacked up with the controls on this in a way that I can't sort out, because L is acting as the start button. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. L is acting as the start button, and R is crouching, which seems weird, and none of the face buttons are seeming to do anything, including jump, which I think I need to do to, progress.
For right here.
Yeah, so I don't know
Whatever,
how long
baby.
I'm going to be playing Bug.
Figure it out.
Yeah, right.
You could
Mr.
try the
Bones it
sequel,
is.
Bug 2.
That's right. I could switch to Bug 2. Let's see
Bug
what's up
2,
with
the
Bug
new
2.
batch.
No, TOO, Bug 2.
Yeah, I know.
Bug also.
So do you know how many different games are in this collection that you have loaded right now?
I believe it's the entire U.S. library.
Does that mean that the
And
Saturn port of that awful Frankenstein FMV adventure game is in there? Because that would also be a viable replacement for Bug.
It absolutely should
Starring
be.
Tim Curry.
Yes, let's
Oh,
find
Dr.
out.
really?
Frankenstein. Yeah, that's a
He
pretty
had
good
some lean
name.
years, Tim Curry, huh?
Yeah, he did. What's it called? Frankenstein through the eyes. Frankenstein through the
eyes of the
monster.
monster. That's it. Yeah.
We're gonna find
the
out
eyes-
here, buddy. We're about to find out.
Because the eyes of the monster are upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whoever in Pennsylvania, look behind you. Because that's where the monster is gonna be.
The monster is.
I was just thinking of that song the other day, and I don't know why, but
That's a perfectly normal thing to just think about.
I just watch it
Interplay
every Saturday night.
presents an amazing
Kung Fu
medium.
the Legend continues, and Walker Texas Ranger, and
I used to watch it too,
Live.
because what was I going to do? Not watch TV?
yeah.
You weren't Amish.
Not a lot else going on back then.
Cyberpunk Nut asks, do you have a 4 gig RAM cart and one of the SNK fighters?
I do have a 4 gig RAM card. I don't think any of the SNK fighters require the 4K RAM card. I think they
Says
require
I have a
the
mode.
4K.
I don't understand this. I have a mode,
That's
and the character
Papyrus.
loading is pretty slow. Wondering how fast it is with this.
I didn't think the Papyrus font existed back when this game came out.
It generally
That is,
seems
this is a scary game.
it generally
pretty
seems
scary.
to load pretty fast. The mode is the multiple optical drive emulator. It fits in a Dreamcast or a Saturn.
Okay. It's not a swanky mode.
But you are under arrest for the murder of your daughter Gabrielle.
Yeah. So, but it seems to load pretty quickly for the most part. It depends on the game. But yeah, I do have a 4 meg RAM card. Most of the SNK games, a couple of the SNK games had a ROM cart that's special that came with them.
Like part of the game was on a cartridge and the rest was on the CD?
Yeah, a bunch of frames of animation were stored in a special cartridge for King of Fighters 94 and 95, I want to say.
That's weird.
So you
Oh, hi,
would,
Tim.
you would slot that cart into the cart slot, and then it would read those frames, it would pull those frames from that part of the thing. Although apparently there is a there are fan modded versions of that which are on this. I haven't tested them yet, but they've modded it to work with the 4 meg RAM cart. So apparently when you boot those versions up, it loads what should go in the custom cart into your 4 meg RAM cart and makes it work with it.
So I find this really fascinating. Like, is that because it was cheaper to do that than to assume the player had a RAM card, or
I guess. I don't
like
know.
this was their way of making the game compatible for people who didn't have the RAM card? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
It seems weird of them to assume that extra expense in their game, or maybe they passed it on to the customer.
Yeah, there were. I don't know what the MSRP was on King of Fighters 94 and 95 for the Saturn. But
you can stand.
God, I just love the virtual backgrounds of these old scenes.
yeah, yep.
No residual dizziness.
It's Tim Curry standing on a green screen, and then he's poorly.
He might not have even left the house.
Perhaps you can read lips.
He's like poorly composited into this, and like the background layer looks way better than the quality video of him.
No idea.
Like, look at how
It's a rough
pixelated
time
he
for Tim Curry.
is. Yeah, look at how pixelated he is versus how like relatively sharp the background is.
So the background is a static bitmap, basically.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But it doesn't matter because you're playing this on your like 16-inch CRT TV over composite cables, and you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm an experiment.
But yeah, the 4 meg RAM card. Actually, part of the Satiator thing is that it.
This place thick with evil.
Professor Abrasive, the guy who made it, made a version of the firmware for the action replay like region breaking carts, which is what I have. It's like a 1 meg, a 4 meg, a save bank, and a region breaker and an action replay all in one. And these things are a dime a dozen. They're out there if you look for them. But he made a special firmware for them because apparently they hijack the bootloading sequence in the same way the Satiator does. So prior to his custom firmware for them, when you booted up, if you had an action replay in, like the first 100 people who got Satiators, if you had an action replay, the 4 meg cart in there, that would take the boot sequence and you wouldn't get to the Satiator menu. So you had to unplug the cart and then load the thing and then plug the cart back in to make it work.
Play those games.
And Saturn cart slots are notoriously finicky, so nobody wants to do that, right? Because it's like once you get it in there, like
you leave it for years.
Oh, mine until last week, mine had been in there for probably a decade without getting pulled out of that slot because it worked every time I booted the system, and I was just like, I'm just not gonna. Even when I moved, I would wrap the whole thing in bubble wrap or whatever, but leave the cart in that slot because I just didn't want to deal with having to reseat it because it's such a pain in the ass. So
as you see on this board, the energy spectrum contains a
but I had to take it out to run the Satiator, and then Professor Brace has been really good at support with this thing so far. For right now, only Patreon folks have him so far, but for us, he's been really great. And hopefully, by the time it's just publicly available, all the bugs will be worked out. But like, it wouldn't work for me; it was giving an error when I tried to back up my cart. So you can back up the existing firmware, so I can turn this back into how it came to me from Hong Kong 13 years ago, if I want to. But when I tried to flash his software on there, it wouldn't work, and so I opened it up, and just to make sure I cleaned the contacts and everything. But I put a picture of it on his Discord, and I was like, hey man, just like, because he was asking people, like, oh, if your action replay has a problem, like, put it on put a picture of it, and I can see what I can do. And I put a picture of it on the Discord, and he's like, oh, that's weird. Like, the RAM chips on yours are like, it's like 2 3.3 volt chips instead of 1 5 volt chip. Give me a minute. And like an hour later, he was like, here, use this new menu firmware and try it again. And then it worked.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
So,
responsive.
So yeah, so now I don't have to. Now it's back to. It'll be in there again for another decade because I won't have.
Smokemonster says you got to respect the Saturn cart slot.
You got to respect the Saturn card slot. You got to be very gentle with it.
I did not know that. I don't think I have ever respected my Saturn card slot.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it stopped working, Mike, because you gotta be kind to your Saturn card slot.
Well, I also never used it for anything.
So I literally, because I'm talking to you guys, I am not paying any fucking attention to what is going on in this game, and I am already utterly lost.
Look, there's Tim Curry. He's hiding down in between those two things.
He's hanging out between those posts.
It's like Where's Waldo, but with Tim Curry.
Yes, I clicked on him and he's talking to me, but I'm not paying attention to what he's saying.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it's very difficult to navigate because you're like repositioning yourself as the camera inside rooms, and so you hit right, and then you like take 2 steps right, and then like turn around backwards or whatever. So it's kind of hard to navigate stuff. Yeah.
Why do you know this game, Eric?
They did a random PC game of it on Giant Bomb like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Benny and Dave played a bunch of it, I think.
Didn't you play it for Halloween one year for like a half hour?
I think it's been on the list of things that I wanted to check out.
I know we played that really ridiculous CG. It's not FMV. It's a CG Dracula thing for PlayStation.
Yeah, there was a bunch of those. We only played the first
Dracula
one,
Resurrection or whatever.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this piece of parchment? I don't know. Okay, all right. I'm going to play Mr. Bones.
That's all right. Listen, you don't have to. Yeah, this is fine. That's plenty. We got to see really low resolution. Curry, so.
Yeah, that's right.
We got to see
surprisingly nice looking background art.
Yeah.
So keep knocking.
Look at that chain. Yeah, it's good.
Man, Kai's power tools really got to work out in this game.
All right.
Does the Saturn ever run at high res, or is it always 320?
It does. It does. It has a 480i mode, as a matter of fact.
So do you think that background
Virtua
was
Fighter
running 480i?
Could have been. I don't have a way to easily check that right now. but I think it was the only game I know of for it's not many games use it. The only one I know of for sure off the top of my head that does for anything besides a lot of them do for menus like I was playing something. Castlevania actually has high res menus. So anytime you pause, if I'm using a FrameMeister, anytime I pause Castlevania to look at the menu, but only the main menu where you see like Alucard's face and your level and everything. So it's like pause, lose sync while it changes resolution, then go into the weapon submenu, and then pause while it changes resolution back to 240.
Awesome.
And then rinse repeat
when
you get out of the menu.
Issues on real TVs? Tube TVs could adapt really fast?
Tube TVs just take what their analog signals. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why Resident Evil 2, for example,
modes. They
don't change modes. They just spit out what's
right.
what's given to them. So
they can adapt on every frame. Could be different for all they care.
Right. That's why there has been a debate. It's not really a debate, but some people are weird about it. But if you boot up some Capcom arcade games in MAME, they will be widescreen. Because Capcom they were really big on like having high detail art using pixel density. Yeah. So people will be like, "Oh, look, it's in widescreen. It's supposed to be in widescreen." No, it's not. They were made for 4:3 monitors, but because they wanted the detail in there, they had a super wide. But the pixels are supposed to be skinnier. They're supposed to be oblong pixels because it was meant to squish into a 4:3 CRT arcade monitor. But if you just run it with square pixels by default in MAME, they look widescreen. And so then people were like, they were meant to be in widescreen. It's like, no, they would have probably shipped them with widescreen monitors in the arcade if they were meant to be in widescreen. You would think.
Smoke Monster says there's some video hacks in the redump supplement that he hasn't seen yet. Some are labeled high res or something like that.
I don't think I unzipped all of those. I can look. Yeah, there are some widescreen. Yeah, there are widescreen video hacks, but you can see there's nothing in this menu because they're actually still all zipped, and I haven't unzipped them. Also, I would need to fuck with my FrameMeister because my FrameMeister right now is set to 4:3, so I'd have to dig around with the settings on my FrameMeister as well. So, what we're gonna do, Mr. Bones? That's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna look up the name of the people who made
Mr. Bones to
that video again, but like the whole widescreen Capcom game things is extremely nicely debunked in the Street Fighter resolution comparison video. I
know.
I can't remember what it is because for all the home consoles they redrew the sprites, and the only way that the sprites look even remotely similar is if you assume that they're always in 4:3. Yeah, you squish the arcade game one way, you pull the SNES game another way, and then they both fit if they're in 4:3 only. And I wish I could remember the name of the channel that did that video. Really
I know Displaced Gamers did a thing about Capcom arcade resolution, but I don't think it's the video you're talking about specifically right now. Rockstar San Diego made Mr. Bones, and I didn't realize that. But Angel Studios is now Rockstar San Diego, and also this game locked up on me. So let's see what's it doing. What are we doing? Oh, kick me to the menu. Well, that's weird. I'll have to let Professor Abrasive know that happened.
Yeah, it is. Displaced Gamers is the one that I saw. Yeah, that's a good video. You should watch that video.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Eric, but it looks like you're not going to get any Mr. Bones either, because it just
this thing sucks. It's bullshit.
Eric
the only two Saturn games that anybody cares about, and I'm not satiated. Yeah.
Can you look?
That's not true. Saturn Bomberman.
I was playing Saturn Bomberman the other night. Saturn Bomberman.
Saturn Bomberman.
FMV games. Is the Ripper on Saturn?
I think Ripper was PC only.
Yeah, I think so too.
Can you load MP3s onto your card and then play them using the Saturn's built-in CD player?
How about Quarterback Attack with Mike Ditka?
Oh boy.
If that doesn't work, I'll be very disappointed.
One more chance to be satiated.
Attempts to simulate the experience of being a professional quarterback with the other players rendered in full motion video.
I have bad news for you, Eric. It appears that game is not on this. On this
all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Is
it an early VR game?
Whoever
you're saying it was not considered essential.
Yeah, whoever curated this memory card set
curation fail.
decided
It was
Through the eyes of the
it was-
master, it's essential.
Oh wait, actually, I'm sorry. You know what?
It
Actually,
was too real.
No. Hang on. Let me double check because actually it might be under NFL. I was looking under Q for
Maybe you just had
quarterback
the
attack,
name wrong.
but it might be under N for NFL quarter. But nope, it's not under NFL either.
So I just saw something in that menu. What the hell
Is
does
it under
the Saturn
D for Ditka or?
What
Was
does
that
the
Magic
Saturn version
Carpet?
of Quake look like, Joe?
Oh, Quake, yeah.
It's
It'll be
actually
alright.
It's actually a very good port. But we'll take a look.
Really?
I think so. I think that one of them is really bad, and I think Doom is bad, and Quake is good, if I remember correctly.
You need the full power of the 32X if you want to play Doom.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, but Kurt, I will play some Saturn Bomberman after we check out Quake. There's, again, I can't remember if this is the good port and Doom is the bad port, or if Doom is the good port and Quake is the bad port. I think I
would hope they could get Doom running on the Saturn.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure that Saturn Doom is garbage. It is actually quite bad.
Really?
Boy, this game is not. Oh man,
dark.
It's very
Is
dark.
this running at like 6 frames a second?
Cyberpunk
No, it actually is
says
running pretty smoothly.
This Quake is the good one. It has real lighting.
Yeah, it does look like it's got real lighting, and it actually is running pretty smoothly.
Does that have ray? Can you put the ray traced version of Quake on here? Or?
That's right. Yeah.
Hey man, like we were talking about, I think it was last week, right? That someone got ray tracing working on the Super Nintendo. So.
Cyberpunk also said bulk slash for whatever that means. I don't know if that's a game or something. Okay. I wasn't paying attention to the
It's
list
just
when it was
it's
going
so
by.
much cheaper than buying your slashes individually. Like
you buy your
right,
slashes
yeah.
in bulk always. Whoa.
I mean,
Okay, so this is the
each
good port,
individual
but I just fell
slash-
through the floor apparently. So
Each individual slash is not as good, but since you're getting them in bulk, it's fine.
Oh wait, no,
are
that's
those
water.
enemies in
That's
3D
water.
or are they renders? Are they sprites now?
I think they look like they're. It's hard to tell if it could be some kind of like trickery, like Sapphire on the PC Engine CD, where like they rendered sprites out of 3D polygon objects so that it looks like 3D, but it's not. It could be that, but I think this is running in real time 3D. I'm pretty sure.
Try and find an enemy to walk around and see like how smoothly it transitions.
They all point their guns at me when I walk into a room with them, Mike. So
that's suspicious.
No, that looks like a 3D object.
You need to, not walk in with your gun held out, and maybe they'll be a nicer. Cyberpunk Nut says the devs that did this did Power Slave and Duke Nukem.
I was gonna say Power Slave is also considered a pretty good first-person shooter on the Saturn.
Also a pretty good Iron Maiden album.
Right. Also, playing these kind of games with a standard fucking D-pad only controller is not fun.
What about the oldest strafe?
L&R strafe.
Oh.
So the D-pad moves forward and backward and looks, and L&R strafe.
Sounds fun.
Not great, Bob.
Can you look up and down somehow? If you hold a button, can you?
I can switch to the axe. Okay, that's switching. Oh, no.
The thing to realize is that the authentic PC experience of playing Quake was no better at this time, right?
Yeah, right.
Because no one had figured out the control scheme at the beginning when Quake was first released, and so
I thought
you had
by
like
Quake
stuff like
we had. I thought by Quake it was.
By late Quake we had. By like, I played Quake for like a year, a whole bunch, and towards the end of that time, I read someone be like, "No, use the mouse to aim." And I'm like, "What? Why would you do that? You gotta take one of your hands off the keyboard." And I made the switch
with
after
Doom,
playing like 6 or 8 months of Quake.
With Doom, you didn't have to aim, really, right? You just had to point your gun in the direction of the enemy, and if they were above or below you, it would just automatically, your bullets would magically go up or down.
Oh, I still think Doom plays very well with the keyboard. Not that I have in a long time, but you don't really need the analog control.
But no, Eric, I haven't. If I can look up and down, I can't figure out how to do it. So.
Oh really? Do you think they Doomified the 3D, the third axis on?
Maybe, or I'm just not. Maybe I'm supposed to have one of the Knights pads. I don't have a Knights pad for this system, so maybe I'm supposed to.
Smoke Monster says it's weird to see this in one-player mode since he's really only played death matches.
Yeah, I mean that's
in Saturn Quake.
Probably just in Quake.
Presume he just means Quake
I'm
in
guessing
general.
he's.
My only experience with Quake in the '90s was playing the Nintendo 64 version.
I mean, I could switch over to that if you.
Hell of an experience.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think Quake is a very good single-player game.
No, I mean, but like, listen, when you don't have a PC that can play video games and you hear about Quake all the time, and you have like a free rental at Blockbuster, you use it just to see what's up with Quake.
Hold X button
Quake
and
StarCraft
push
and a bunch of that stuff.
D-pad up and down.
Hold X and push up and down. Oh yeah, there we go.
And then hold it, push it again to recenter.
Yep.
So, see, this actually is quite reminiscent of how you would have played this game on the keyboard before you learned how to use mouse controls.
Y
like,
and Z to cycle
insert
through
and
the
delete on the
weapons.
number pad, or like the look up and down buttons. It's like Dark Forces, you know? Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is to say, a huge giant mess. Like, not fun to play.
Yeah, Smoke Monster mentioned the Saturn mouse, and I can't remember. I know Stop Skeletons from Fighting has done a bunch of videos about all the different console mices and what games work with them and which ones don't. I know that PlayStation Doom works and PlayStation Quake work with a mouse. That I know for sure, but I don't remember if the Saturn versions do.
You don't want to play Doom with a mouse, man. That's not helping.
I was looking at the Saturn manual to find that out, and then when I scrolled down a little bit, it explains the status bar, and then there's a little arrow pointing to the center of it that says your face. Like armor type, armor points, your face.
They're not wrong.
They aren't.
Hey, is this movie in 3D? No, but your face is.
Nice. Is there popcorn popping at my face?
Yes. You guys will all be very happy to know I just checked my phone, and my package of compostable dog poop bags has been shipped.
Yay!
Is that the bags are compostable, or
the poop was always?
The poop was always. I was gonna say the poop was always compostable.
I don't know. It depends on what you eat. You know.
Yeah, I guess we don't know what Joe's feeding his dogs.
Yeah, I feed them plastic pellets and.
Speaking of a game that yeah, that's right. Eat all these styrofoam peanuts.
Styrofoam pack. Actually, Logan.
Speaking
ate
of a game
bunch
that's not necessarily worth playing single player.
Yeah, we recently got a package that came with they weren't actually styrofoam, but they're like the cornstarch styrofoam packing peanuts.
Yeah.
And Logan decided that he really liked those. So he stuck his face in the box and ate a whole bunch of them. I was like, dude, what the hell? At least they're not. Right, it's not gonna hurt him. But
did he say corn nuts and then throw up and break through a glass table?
Yeah, no, he started searching for Corn Nut the Third, but couldn't.
You mean Snack Pack
Corn Nut the Third? Yeah, but couldn't find him.
Worlds are colliding here.
Yeah. So
Joe's not allowed to make those jokes.
That's right. Yeah,
I had to listen to you guys.
You weren't there.
No, I was in Discord.
You didn't have to watch.
I was in Discord.
Man fucking awake a kiss with another lady lizard that we saved from a caravan. You didn't have to live through that, so you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't bear
Go out of
those
your
scars.
element here, Donnie.
I had to listen.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
I had to listen to you guys yell at Anthony repeatedly to come over here and stop harassing that guy and don't kill that person, Anthony. So
is this your homework?
We know this is your homework, Larry. But yeah, I'll play a little bit of this. But as Kurt said, this game, I have the Japanese version of this game on disc. I got it when it was about $30. Even that one, like I was saying at the top of the stream, even the Japanese versions of games, where the US version was very expensive, and so people like me would just buy the Japanese version because who cares, right? It's just even in a lot of cases,
game,
those,
who cares?
Right. In a lot of cases, those are going up, to exorbitant prices now, and so this is
man. Yeah, I only said the name because there was question about essential Saturn games, not that it was something that needed to be played.
Sure.
All this means that my PS2 collection is finally going to be worth some money in about 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be. Could be.
No, it won't. There's too many of those. Maybe in like 20 years there might be some, like, because would have said the same thing about like Nintendo games, right? And some of that stuff is starting to be worth a little bit. So,
right.
I mean,
all your discs will be rotted, so it won't make any difference.
Right, and that's the other thing about
that was the thing I was gonna say. Yeah.
This and my PS1 is actually getting sent back to me. I just got an X Station installed by Will at retrohacks.net. So if you're ever in need of, like, I definitely recommend Will's work. He also did the mod on my N64, the RGB mod with D-Blur he put in my N64, and he's sending my X Station back to me, or my PlayStation 1 with X Station mod installed. And it's just, like, eventually Disc Rot is going to get all these games, you know. The cartridges will outlast the discs, you know. Your NES games will outlast your PlayStation games. So, I mean, it's just good to have, you know. I still have all my discs, but, like, the option to not put wear and tear on the laser, you know, and the option to not worry about, well, what if game X gets bit rot? What if game X got scratched at such and such a point in time? What, you know, that don't have to worry about that anymore.
What about, like, the actual guts that play the games, like the CPU, the GPU?
I mean, if you recap your systems, like, hypothetically, those things should last well beyond our lifetimes, right? Like, the microchips themselves, as long as the capacitors don't start leaking on the board, you know. But be careful. I know Smoke Monster's in the chat. Like, you could become like Smoke Monster if you start. He like recaps his blender when he gets a new, you know.
Will it blend?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Will it blend the old capacitors?
I mean, it will for a really long time.
Because he recapped it exactly. So
that's the sign of a person that's got it. The first thing to do is admit you have a problem.
That's right. Once you can admit you have a problem, that's the first step.
Or admit you have a solution,
right?
Which is a big bag of capacitors.
I mean, but also, I mean, shout outs to Smoke Monster for when I got my Tekken 3 arcade board. You know, with those boards, a lot of people are like, I should just recap them and
get them to come over and work on my Tempest.
Smoke Monster was like, you should. Smoke Monster was just like, hey man, just like when you buy it, have it sent to me in San Diego, and I'll do the recap
Hook a brother
for
up.
you, and then I'll send it to you from here.
You can't not recap stuff.
Right.
Just gets a high from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's just the solder burning off.
Yeah. But yeah, so he did that for me, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, you should if your systems are, you know, the capacitors are good and don't leak all over the board, the chips themselves should last, you know, theoretically, again, well beyond our lifetimes, hypothetically. But some systems are worse about that than others, right? Like when I bought my PC Engine and got work done on it, like, the person who did the work on it originally was like, you know, I'm definitely going to recap this because PC engines are notorious. NEC used just absolute cheap shit caps, and they're very well known to leak on the board. And
sad.
Original Xbox is another one, isn't it? That has really bad caps.
Is it? I don't know that I'd heard that, but I've also never actually owned an original Xbox, so.
Oh, right.
But I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that. But yeah, so this Saturn, the real draw of Saturn Bomberman is that it supports 10-player multiplayer.
10 players, yep.
With 2 5-player adapters for the Saturn.
I think it's the one for the clock is the one specifically on Xboxes that has a tendency to.
That would make
really
sense.
shitty.
The Neo Geo, like I have a bad Neo Geo that I need to replace the quartz that does the clock. They used apparently cheap quartz crystals in the clock mechanism on the Neo Geo arcade boards on some of them, and they're known to go. And the system won't finish its boot procedure if it can't determine that if it can't determine the time or the clock setting or whatever, it doesn't boot properly. So like I need to get that. That was going to be like, I might train myself to solder, like go out on a limb and I'm just going to try to figure it out by replacing that crystal, just because the seller who sold it to me on eBay, I was like, yo, this doesn't work. And they're like, oh, you can just keep it anyways. Well, I'll send you another one, but you can still just keep it. And I was like, okay. So that was going to be like my teach myself to solder project, because if I fuck it up, who cares, right?
I believe in you, Joe.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. What was it? Bulk Slash was what Cyberpunk Nut, right? Said Bulk Slash.
Yep.
Well,
Bulk Slash.
Check out some Bulk Slash.
Nexus Creed said that this Bomberman game looks a lot better than Zero, by which I assume that they mean Act Zero.
Yeah, Bomberman Act Zero is fucking trash. That's why. Oh god, that was such a. I mean, it's. There have been a lot of monumental missteps, I guess, in the history of video games, but that one's just always felt like
needlessly cruel.
Why would you? What told you that this would appeal to anybody? Like,
who looked at Bomberman and thought, yeah, that guy fucked?
Mm-hmm. What we need is a dark and gritty reboot of Bomberman. Like, no, it fucking is not. That is not what we need.
Ryder wants to know if you're playing Clockwork Knight tonight.
I can. Sure. Key select. Oh no, 480i menus.
Your one weakness.
Oh boy, I can't read any of that. Okay, this will be fun. Let's see how this goes. This I'm gonna apologize right now to Cyberpunk Nut and say that there is a chance that I don't get very far into this. We'll see.
Don't you have this also going into your PVM?
I do, but I actually, in terms of things I need to get worked on, my PVM's been acting up a bit lately, and I actually need to take it back to Steve and have him take a gander at it. He is going to do that for me, but we're trying to figure out a time when I can drive out to his place and drop it off. So I'm just glad that I'm just glad that like one of the people who is like known on the internet for like fixing and maintaining PVMs lives like in my city. So I just need to find a time to get out by him and have him take a look at it. But yeah, it's right now it's not been behaving. Hey, anime. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. I can't understand you. My Japanese. Yeah, sure. I'll join. What am I joining? Okay. Oh, I'm a plane. Okay, I swing the sword and then I shoot the gun if I keep holding the button. Okay, now I'm just shooting the gun. You have to be close. If I'm close to something, I swing the sword. No. Okay, that jumps. That shoots the thing. That turns me into a jet. Okay. All right. Eleanor, turn my view. See jumps. Let's see. Okay, and those 3 buttons do nothing. All right. Sounds good. Nope. I keep turning into a jet when I don't mean to. I don't want to turn into a jet.
Don't you though?
Okay. There's.
So this is kind of like a Virtua On thing.
Yeah. I didn't get to pick my robot, so it's not... And I'm not fighting another... It's like a... Yeah. This seems like the kind of thing that I could get into, but I feel like I would have to have, like, a guide next to me to kind of tell me, like, a little bit of what's going... Like, what is this woman saying, yelling at me? Kind of a thing, so that I would have a better sense of what I'm supposed to be doing. But this seems like it could be pretty good.
Yeah, looks like fun.
Yeah, and all right, I'm a jet. I can shoot as a jet. There we go. So it's got this Macross vibe where I can turn from jet to robot, which is neat.
Well, I'm a shark, so now we have to fight to the death.
Oh no!
Oh no!
But eventually you'll
couldn't be friends forever.
Yeah, but then you'll eventually get around to a time where you talk loudly about how you're not a fish, you're a man.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then it'll turn out you're a Yeti and we'll be in the same faction and try and kill Hulk Hogan or whatever. It's great.
Excuse me, sir. Yeti.
Yeah, right.
Please.
You'll be a booty man or a Zodiac or...
That's right. A man without a face.
Right.
I think Joe would know by now if he was a booty man.
Yes. Well... Sure.
I guess some people are late bloomers.
You have to go through. Mike. What you don't understand is you have to go through a whole process of first being a barber, and then being a Zodiac, and then
the beefer,
the beefer, brother beefer, and and then you can figure out if you're a booty man.
Nexus Creed says I can only imagine the tangle of controller cords with 10 players. I have played with 10 players. And the tangle of controller cords is nothing to compare to the tangle of shenanigans going on screen.
Yeah, right. It's really zoomed out.
It's really zoomed out. Yeah, you need a big TV or you can't see shit. And even then, there's just fucking explosions everywhere all the time.
Was it not Saturn Bomberman that they actually made like a weird HD version of for one of the earliest CRT HD televisions?
Yeah, so they're High 10 Bomberman. This is the thing I'm fascinated with. And they thought they found it 2 years ago, but it turned out to just be like the soundtrack, I guess, and not the actual game data. It was built on custom hardware that was basically like, you know how they said the Wii was two GameCubes duct taped together? So this was like two PC engines duct taped together, basically, and with a special video output chip that would output in I think it was full 1080p actually, and maybe 1080i. But it was part of the Hudson Caravan that year, where like people would go to the big Hudson event and they would play whatever the Caravan shooting game that year was and meet Takahashi Meijin and all that stuff. But then you could also play this widescreen HD Bomberman game, you know, that was.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of Hudson and PC engines, so I'm guessing it was not the Saturn version of Bomberman.
So what people are saying, what people have said, is that based on what you can see of that version of High 10 Bomberman, is that it was the basis, to some extent, of at least the multiplayer in Saturn Bomberman.
Okay.
Allegedly.
That version has a multiplayer stage that's a soccer field. And when you kick a bomb into the goal, it creates a giant explosion line that comes out of the goal and kills people. It's pretty great.
Alright, well I got killed in this, so I'm going to move on to something else. It's right. Rhino and I asked about Clockwork Knight, right?
Yeah. And then asked for Scud or Bug. We tried Bug and it was bugged.
Yeah,
Something
Bug was
there.
buggy, so we're not going to do Bug,
Yeah.
but we'll check out Clockwork Knight, and we'll check out Scud the Disposable Assassin.
That's right.
Which I feel like was one of those games that was put up as sort of one of the better, Saturn games that was not on the PlayStation.
You could get away with that shit in the 90s, but like environmental concerns are too stringent now for you to have disposable assassins.
You have to have a recyclable assassin.
Recyclable assassin, yeah, exactly.
All that lithium.
And angst. Did you play? We did not play Virtua Cop.
I don't have
a gun hooked up.
I don't have a Saturn stunner right now. That's one thing I've been on the lookout for.
You mean stunner?
I have a third party one.
Yeah, I thought about getting.
I don't think it can reach Joe's TV from Montreal.
Oh, the cable's very long.
I've been thinking about getting one of the because there are third party ones that are PlayStation and Saturn.
Okay.
And I have 2 gun cons for my PlayStation, but there are a handful of games that use the Konami Justifier gun that are not compatible with the gun con, and the ones that are the guns that work on both will work on those.
They're on the wrong side of history.
Justifier based games, yeah. But some
Does
of
Die
them.
Hard Trilogy work with the gun con?
I was just gonna say some games have been hacked, including Die Hard Trilogy. So there is a hack for gun con compatibility on Die Hard Trilogy.
Yeah. Ryan Onar keeps asking for Madden, and next keeps shouting at him for no Madden.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure that we're gonna get to Madden tonight. I don't know if
that would still be like the 2D Maddens, right?
Yeah, I think they were actually, at least one of them was polygonal.
I mean, like the PlayStation had. Oh, well, I'm not sure. I don't know.
The PlayStation,
PlayStation was the transition, right? Like the first or second one were 2D, but
he wants to see you play Croc because it's bad. Croc is bad. It's so bad.
Can you play Croc with the Power Glove?
I mean, I don't have a Power Glove, and even if I did, I don't think it's compatible with the Saturn, so...
I know somebody that worked on that game, and I railed at him about it, and he was like, "You're not wrong."
Wow.
I feel like people that work on bad games usually know.
Oh yeah, he totally did.
Probably know much better than we do.
Yeah.
So, this is one of those games where it's just kind of like, you know, trying to use this to sell the Saturn. You know, like, oh, yeah, we've got this game, Clockwork Knight. It's a really slow-paced, like, action platformer with really bland level design. But it's in 3D. Yeah. Look, a house just fell on you in 3D. And it's just kind of like...
Yeah. Nexus screen says more 2.5D, so mid-90s.
But is the Knight 3D, or is this like a Donkey Kong Country style?
No, Pepperow Chow himself is a sprite, a pre-rendered sprite like Donkey Kong, I think. But a lot of this stuff, you know, the
it's
boxes,
my least favorite game aesthetic.
It's mine too. Like absolutely, not even, and it's not close for me. I like the pre-rendered 3D sprites. Just I feel like they've aged the worst of anything. You know, they're bad. They're yeah. And
it's an uncanny canyon instead of the valley.
Yeah, right. And there's a lot of games in this era, like good ones, that have that aesthetic. Like there's some pretty good shoot 'em ups for this system as well as the PlayStation.
I would say Radiant Silvergun is kind of like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that going.
She plays some Radiant Silvergun.
But that game is so good.
Would you say, Eric?
I said Mischief Makers also, right?
Yeah, Mischief Makers had that.
And yeah.
That game's pretty good. That's a pretty good
But that's
game.
also
like
good.
That.
Yeah.
Shake, shake.
Shake, 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 shake.
Oh no, I missed letters apparently.
Is this supposed to be good?
No, I think this was, again, this is one of those things where, like, when it came out, people were like, whoa. The other thing that's weird about this game is apparently, so there's a Clockwork Knight and a Clockwork Knight 2, but my understanding, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that they weren't able to finish the game, so Clockwork Knight 2 is literally just the second half of Clockwork Knight 1.
Weird. Huh.
Because, like, they didn't have time to finish it before they wanted it, like, out on store shelves, so they
didn't bother. I mean, listen, would it have been better to have a Cyberpunk 1 and 2 rather than a...
I was trying not to go there.
A Cyberpunk 20 and a Cyberpunk 77?
Yeah.
Okay, so how am I supposed to get up there? Okay. What was the next thing I was gonna play?
Virtua Cop.
No, I don't have a stunner.
That's right.
This is Daytona.
I feel like somebody else mentioned something that's not Madden. Somebody mentioned something else in the chat.
Enemy Zero?
I mean, I feel like Enemy Zero is not the kind of game that lends
Scud.
itself... Scud, the recyclable says. I feel like Enemy Zero is not the kind of game that lends itself well to this kind of stream where I'm just like quick hitting a bunch of games. Like I think Enemy Zero would have to be like its own dedicated
slow burn.
We didn't play any Panzer Dragoon. You didn't miss it.
Oh, Panzer Dragoon.
No, we didn't play Panzer Dragoon.
Only one of those games I played is Orta. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
kind of hard.
That's the Xbox one, right?
In order to reset, he has to turn it off and turn it back on again.
I do have to turn it off and turn it
Doesn't have a reset button.
Did somebody ask that in the chat why I have to keep
I just noted it since it was happening.
You can do what I do for my Mister right now is I have an extension cable with a foot switch. I just stomp on it.
You need a stinky footboard.
I know Mike likes anything where he can hit a button with his foot and it does something.
I got
in a previous life, he worked with like sewing machines and stuff. He was a tailor of some kind.
He was big in paddle boats.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan on our said he'd love to see Clockwork Knight on Switch. I'm just saying, as someone who just played Clockwork Knight, I feel like Sega's resources could be better used if they were porting games to the Switch than Clockwork Knight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trash that they've already ported to the Switch, so why not?
Sega, I feel like Sega hasn't ported a lot of trash to the Switch. I will say that. Sega's been pretty good.
In general.
It is a dumping ground.
Yeah.
Is this the prequel to My Friend Pedro?
Yes.
Like a dual-wielding banana man?
Oh man, I forgot that I can use a stunner in this game too.
Stunner is
Switch is so lazy.
popular.
Hey dude, I don't want to have to get on my hands and knees underneath my desk to plug the Mister in. It doesn't have a power button.
I just unplug it right from the back of the.
It's behind my monitor now. I have to go like rooting around in the cables up back there. What is wrong with my solution?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that's kind of like your go-to move, and I like it. That's all.
I got a thing, okay?
He wasn't pejorative. He was just pointing it out. Right.
He was just saying that it is.
I have not come here to praise.
Bury my feet.
Yeah.
I come here to praise Mike's feet, not to bury them.
That's right.
Good. Good feet.
It's an early MCU game.
Yeah, right.
I like how you had to load the animation of the thing and then load more. Hold on. All right, here you go. All right, now hold on.
So what makes this guy recyclable? Is he just like a consciousness and a sleeve?
Yeah,
he's an assassin that you get out of a vending machine.
I think it's something like that.
But is he recyclable or disposable?
He's
disposable. It's disposable. He's not recyclable.
Sorry.
We were joking that if you made the game today,
you would have to do so.
I'm fighting a giant statue of Ronald Reagan that has laser eyes, so kind of split my focus
again.
At the moment.
Is it Wednesday already? I guess it is.
Yeah, it's Wednesday again. They keep building it, I keep tearing it down.
You know the definition of insanity.
Exactly.
Fighting a giant robot. Ronald Reagan statue.
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, every Wednesday.
And expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nexus Creed says, do you feel the fall of Sega was 32X or Saturn marketing?
I think that people like convenient, easy narratives, like it was one of those things and not a combination of a whole bunch of things.
I just like a long string of bad decisions.
It just, snowballed.
And also sometimes it's just, there isn't really a great reason why.
No,
right?
I mean, in the case of Sega, there's a lot of reasons why. It wasn't just like people stopped liking video games, obviously. Sega dug their own hole for sure. But it wasn't just, they could have weathered the 32X on its own. They could have weathered, Saturn marketing on its own. They could have weathered, XYZ on its own. It's just, they did a bunch of bad things in a row. And that was that.
Derek Pascarello says we all need to sit here for the next 28 hours. fire up police nuts. I started to say psychonauts. Just a different thing. We already did some we tried some Mr. Bone. Or that one, Mr.
We it locked up.
It crashed.
It locked up. That's right. It crashed. We tried that.
This Mr. Bone bias has come to an end.
They call him Mr. Bone, starring Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, so this is based on a comic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's based on a comic book.
Oh, this is what the stunner section is. That's right. There's separate sections where you can use the stunner here.
Ooh.
Well, I game over, but I'm still gonna.
This is like the 90th fucking thing I've seen in
It is
so long.
extremely fucking 90s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you keep a monster alive so I don't self-destruct?
We can do anything for a price.
I'm a robot. I got no money.
Get a job like the rest of us. I'm not a couch.
Hang
Got
on,
some
I
people
gotta
in the
go.
chat talking about the Sega Nomad.
Sega
It
Nomad.
says, good on paper, but I did not like it. Plus, it came out at the worst time.
Well, I mean, that's hard to say, right? Because it's one of those things where, like, the install base of the Genesis was huge, right? So the idea that people would want to be able to buy this thing that is a handheld that, you know, absolutely mops the floor with the Game Boy, that has a massive library of games, like, I get that. I'm not sure the timing was bad, but it was expensive, and it was competing with itself. Because, you know, like people are saying, that Sega spread themselves so thin. That was part of one of their many poor decisions, is they were trying to support, you know, the Genesis and both of its add-ons, and the Saturn, and the Game Gear, and in some places the Master System, and the Pico, you know, all at one time. And it's just like, something's got to give, you know.
That's too much Sega.
It's too much Sega. Let's see. Panzer Dragoon. We'll do a little bit of Panzer Dragoon, and I think we'll probably call it a night here. So, let's see. But yeah, I mean, there we go. Time goes by, passing their existence in fear of the ever-present shadow of cybergenetic warfare.
Mm-hmm. You know I hate it.
Yeah. They're struggling against each other and the evil forces of the Dark Dragon. So this is one of the classic examples of, like, the they're coming to get me. You know, one of the classic examples of the Japanese version had fantastic cover art.
They made it look all serious and disgusting for the North American release.
It's literally a CG render of the dude sitting on the dragon for the US release, and the Japanese release is fucking art by fucking Mobius, and it's gorgeous.
Wow.
And they were like, no, fuck this. We want this hideous 3D render, second-rate Toy Story-looking bullshit on the cover instead of the Mobius.
Americans need their polygons. How do you know it's in 3D if you can't count all those polygons?
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna skip the story shit because the guy is riding on his little weird thing and he finds the dragon. The original dragon rider dies and gives the gun to the guy, and the guy uses the gun and tames the dragon. And now we're riding the thing and we have the gun and the dragon and we're fucking shit up. That's the story so far.
Ride the dragon.
Let's see. Now I'm trying to remember how to... Does the lock-on just happen as you strafe over things, or do I have to hold a button? I have to hold a button. Okay. So this game got a remake this past year, and apparently when it first came out it wasn't very good, but they fixed they fixed a bunch of the jank and now it is pretty good, is what I'm told. This is this game feels a lot like Rez, but is a lot less psychedelic. But the basic thing of highlight a bunch of enemies and then shoot.
Right, you don't have to aim really.
Yeah. I mean, you can I can shoot like this, if I want to shoot everything down individually, but
you don't need to aim. Your dragon will do that for you.
That's right. This is, so when you look at this game, it feels like the graphics are a little basic, but I feel like that works in its favor, right? This
it looks clean.
It looks clean. Even now it looks pretty good. And this is one of those things where, to see this, the first time I saw this game, I was 12 years old, I guess. And it was just I can't believe this is, on a home system. Going from the Super Nintendo and the Genesis to this, even something like Star Fox, to this was just I can't believe it. I can't believe how realistic this looks. How the water and the vista and all these buildings and rendered in full 3D and it was.
Yeah, newsflash: Star Fox looks like garbage.
Star Fox looks like garbage. Star Fox actually, I think Star Fox is actually aged fairly gracefully not in motion, right? Because it's just everything is so minimal, it's pretty clean. But since it runs at 8 frames a second, it looks really shitty in motion.
Yeah.
But this game, it's not slowing down, it's not chugging the system, and it looks, like I said, it's clean and sort of basic enough that it still looks good. Obviously, you can tell the polygon count is, what it is. A lot lower than any modern game, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like it is trying to do anything it can't do and failing very badly at it, But I guess the fact that... So, the cover being by Mobius was not a coincidence. It was because he did a lot of the concept art for the game. And I think that helps too, right? Is having this, world-famous,
designer.
Yeah, science fiction illustrator do the concept art for your game. Is going to help those designs, come through in a way that is not just like good looking and not just like aesthetically pleasing, but also functional.
What is with the giant space whale over this ship?
I think it's like a blimp. I think maybe.
Oh.
Not.
I would say this ship not maybe the best looking part of this game.
Yeah, but still absolutely readable is what it is, right? Oof. Figure out what's more efficient. Is it more efficient?
Nexus says it looks better than the Star Fox 64. I mean, maybe in stills, but Star Fox 64 has a better frame rate.
I mean, I don't feel like this is framey in any...
I don't know, it looks like it's running at maybe 30?
I'm sure it's running at 30, but it seems like it's a pretty solid...
Star Fox 64, I think, is a 60 frames game.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm not...
I want to say... That game plays really good.
Yeah,
It's boxy, but...
I need to revisit that game, because I like that game a lot. It's been a while since I've played it. But that's one that... Excuse me, that I'd like to go back to.
You need to go back and try a barrel roll.
I need to go back and do a barrel roll. Even though what you're doing when you do that is actually not a barrel roll.
Yeah.
But,
would it officially be a corkscrew?
There's a name for, like, among, like fighter
Flying
pilots,
types?
there is a name for it. But a barrel roll is where you go, like, upside down.
Yeah.
And, like, do a loop.
You roll as if a barrel rolling down a hill or something.
Right. The thing where you spin to the side.
A barrel roll is a big deal.
Else. Yeah. But I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, that's that was some time with Satiator. I'm happy with it. I mean, again, full disclosure, I backed the Patreon. I technically still back the Patreon, although he might have turned it off at this point, so it might not be taking money from me anymore. But I backed the Patreon. But this is not like he didn't send it to me for free, didn't whatever, none of that bullshit. I really like it. It.
I mean, it doesn't play Mr. Bones, so.
Well, but it's
seems
still
pretty
technically
spotty to me.
The firmware is still technically in beta, so we'll give Mr. Bones another try at another time and see what we can do about that.
No, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, considering that the library is so expensive, and that we talked earlier about how emulation for the Saturn has come a long way, but there are definitely still a handful of games that don't work properly.
One of my great sadnesses is that we won't get a Saturn Core for the Mister.
Yeah, that not until a newer, better, bigger, much more impressive FPGA is used.
So we get the DE11.
Yeah, right. Which, I mean, FPGAs of that size are prohibitively expensive, so...
Yeah.
But maybe someday. I don't know, but yeah, if you're a Saturn owner, it's a solution that I'm really happy with it. And I think, if you're a person who likes to play on real hardware like I do, and you want to have access to the whole library, I would say check it out. But that's going to be it for this week. We'll be back next week with something else. We'll be back on... Oh, and Monday, we are action casting the original 1986 animated Fist of the North Star and the live action Gary Daniels starring North American Fist of the North Star movie. So come back for that on Monday. And next week, Wednesday, we'll be back doing this again with something else. Maybe Anthony found some weird multiplayer solitaire thing that we might check out.
Yeah, by Zachtronics.
Yep.
So we might be doing that next week. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next week.
Nighty night.
Bye.